Have you ever wondered what's really behind the legend of the Blair Witch? For decades, Hollywood made us believe it was just a horror movie, but censored documents and real cases reveal a far darker story. What if I told you that the producers paid to hide forbidden secrets, like rituals inspired by real-life cults and lawsuits that silenced victims of crimes in the woods? Imagine finding out that fateful night filmed in the woods was never finished. Imagine discovering that the footage filmed in the woods that fateful night wasn't entirely fictional. What if the screams captured on camera were actually echoes of real-life possession cases that the entertainment industry tried to erase? This video goes beyond fear. It's a dive into the fine line between art and manipulation, where every scene hides a truth few dare to expose. Warning: some of the secrets revealed here were considered too dangerous to be shared by mainstream media. The fictional legend that went viral as truth. Have you ever thought about how a made-up story can become real for millions? In 1999, the Blair Witch Project revolutionized Hollywood with a marketing campaign that blurred fiction and reality. Fake websites, like Curse of the Blair Witch, spread historical documents about a witch haunting the woods. The public, fascinated by the idea of real cases, began to believe the events were true, even though it was all fiction. Now, imagine the reaction when the producers claimed the actors had actually gone missing during filming. At the time, fans searched real forests for clues, confusing art with reality. Even today, many believe the legend is rooted in hidden, forbidden secrets, proving how a well-constructed narrative can challenge logic. And what if I told you that this same strategy is still used today? Shows like Stranger Things, for example, create parallel universes blending nostalgia and mystery, encouraging viewers to investigate beyond the screen. But here's a warning: be careful what you accept as truth online. After all, how many modern legends started as jokes or movies? The forbidden secrets behind the scenes. Have you ever imagined that a movie could hide forbidden secrets capable of triggering lawsuits and scandals? The producers of the Blair Witch Project were accused of manipulating historical records and even paying Buckettsville locals to support the legend. For instance, testimonies about ancient rituals in the forest were actually scripted, and documents presented as authentic were fabricated to deceive the public. This didn't just create mystery, it led families of real-life crime victims to sue the filmmakers, claiming the movie trivialized their tragedies. Now, think, how many real cases of fraud in Hollywood do you know? In this film, even the characters' diaries were planted on websites like The Witch Files to maintain the illusion. One of the most shocking revelations was that producers used psychological warfare techniques, spreading fake news about the actors' disappearance while knowing they were safe. You can uncover the truth by comparing official records with the rumors spread at the time, a common viral marketing tactic. So, what's the lesson here? Always question the source of the story, especially when fiction and reality blur. If you visit Buckettsville today, you'll find tourist signs poking fun at the legend, showing how the town embraced the myth to attract visitors. But beware, not all secrets revealed are harmless. Ever wondered how Hollywood uses fear to manipulate your mind? Hollywood strategy to create fear. Have you ever wondered how Hollywood manipulates your mind into confusing fiction with reality? In the Blair Witch Project, the AIDA method, attention, interest, desire, action, was used masterfully. Shaky footage and real screams didn't just catch attention, they planted the seed of doubt: what if this is real? This technique, common in horror films, taps into our fear of the unknown, just like real-life haunting stories feed urban legends. Now think, how many movies use forbidden secrets to hook the audience? In Blair Witch, the chaotic editing and found footage style simulated authenticity. Even critics wondered if it was a censored documentary. A practical example: try watching the film without sound and notice how lighting and angles are calculated to create anxiety, a visual manipulation lesson every content creator should study. And what's the connection to real life? Just like Hollywood uses fear to sell tickets, scammers use shocking stories to manipulate emotions. But stay sharp, not everything that seems scary is real. Ever considered how fictional rituals can be used to control crowds? Get ready to uncover how real-life possession cases inspired some of cinema's most disturbing scenes. The connection to real possession cases. Why are possession stories so terrifying? The Blair Witch Project tapped into real collective fears, like the Salem witch trials, 1692, to build its plot. The film included rituals that, while fictional, were inspired by documented pagan practices from Europe. This led many to ask, did real possession cases influence the movie? Now, think, how many haunting stories in the woods are actually misunderstood natural phenomena? For example, strange sounds blamed on the witch were really animal or wind effects. But the supernatural link lingers. In 2021, a family sued the production, claiming the film copied a local legend about a spirit haunting their land. Here's a secret: Hollywood often mixes fact and fiction to stir controversy. The documentary Mythbusters investigated similar claims and found that 95% of paranormal phenomena had scientific explanations. But what if I told you some of the rituals in the film were based on real-life secret cult practices? Get ready to explore how forbidden secrets become entertainment. The lawsuit that almost censored the film. Did you know a movie was almost banned for distorting reality? In 2001, families of forest crime victims sued the producers of the Blair Witch Project, claiming it encouraged dangerous searches for forbidden secrets. They argued the story blended real-life disappearances with fiction, putting lives at risk. Although it was a milestone in viral marketing, the production was accused of exploiting grief, sparking debates about Hollywood's ethical limits. Now think, how many films, based on true stories, walk the line between entertainment and disrespect? In Blair Witch's case, even film schools banned it for misleading students about documentaries. Ironically, the controversy only boosted its fame, proving Hollywood knows how to turn censorship into publicity. A practical example: after the lawsuit, Google searches for haunted forest rose 400%, showing how fear sells. Here's something to reflect on: if even real cases can be twisted for profit, how can we tell truth from manipulation? Imagine how many secrets about famous movies are still buried. Have you heard about the rituals filmed in the woods that were actually based on real practices? Get ready to uncover how Hollywood turns legends into true cultural obsessions. The filmed rituals and their fake authenticity. Ever wondered how Hollywood turns fictional rituals into real legends? In the Blair Witch Project, scenes like stick figures and forest offerings were inspired by actual pagan practices, but distorted to feel threatening. The producers used chaotic editing and found footage to fake authenticity, making audiences ask, did this really happen? Even today, fans search forests for evidence, mistaking art for real cases. Now, think, how many forbidden secrets are hidden in seemingly innocent details? For example, the Forest Diary was fake, but its style mimicked 17th-century possession records. The dim lighting and warped camera angles weren't accidental, they were strategies to manipulate perception, just like machine learning algorithms simulate human patterns. Try this: rewatch the stick figure scene in slow motion and notice how every movement was choreographed to create unease. Here's a question: if fake rituals can inspire searches for hidden truths, what else has Hollywood invented that people now treat as real? Imagine how many real-life urban legends began as movie scripts. Ever heard about the censored legacy that turned this film into a horror landmark? The censored legacy and its impact on cinema. Have you ever considered how a censored movie became a classic? Despite being banned in some film schools for misleading about documentaries, the Blair Witch Project is now studied as a viral marketing masterpiece. Its blend of real cases and fiction-inspired films like Paranormal Activity and Hereditary, both using that same, questionable authenticity, formula to engage viewers. Even platforms like Netflix use similar strategies for shows like Stranger Things. Now, imagine the impact of a film that pushes ethical boundaries. Blair Witch proved that Hollywood can turn fiction into real collective obsession, baiting us with forbidden secrets. For instance, the series The X-Files used real FBI files to craft stories blending conspiracy with the paranormal, following the same hidden truth logic. Try this: compare Blair Witch trailers with modern found footage films. You'll find the structure almost identical. Here's a final thought: if censored works can become cultural touchstones, to what extent does the industry control what we consider real? Imagine how many Hollywood secrets are still buried. But before we reveal the next step, get ready for an introduction that connects all these dots into a web of mystery and truth. By exploring these forbidden secrets, you've seen that Hollywood doesn't just create entertainment, it shapes our perception of reality. How many times have you mistaken fiction for real cases because of clever editing or slick marketing? What if you used the same strategies to question stories that seem too real to be fake? For example, when watching a documentary, research the behind the scenes. Many facts are as staged as the screams in the Blair Woods. Now think, how many secrets about films, legends, or even news stories are hidden behind a curtain of censorship? What if you applied the same skepticism you had with the Blair Witch Project to other areas of life? Imagine unraveling everyday myths with that same curiosity. So, ready to continue the journey? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next revelations. After all, as one of the film's producers once said, the truth is out there, but it's not always what it seems.